Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good and there.
Good, good. It's been a good day, busy day. Good evening, guys. Thank you for joining us.
Hi. Hi, Chorus.
Excited.
We're happy to hear from the start as well.
I know. Excited to have Siobhan, Madam Cupcake herself join us this evening. It's going to be exciting. So,
Yes.
just gonna. She should come on shortly. Then we can
Yes.
add her. So, how's your day been?
It's been good. It's been busy. Been busy with the kids a lot today. So,
I can
but it's been a good
imagine.
day.
I can imagine. I mean, it's not easy homeschooling, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a full-time job all on its own. But they're
That
pretty good
is,
at it by now, so they've got their little routines going, which is great.
that's cool. I'm just gonna let Siobhan know we're live.
Okay.
So I don't know. Can you? You can't hear the background noise at my place, can you?
A little bit, but it's not too bad.
Yeah.
I hear you've
Unfortunately,
got band practice.
there's nothing I can do about it. When you have a bunch of men wanting to play, it's
I see
it's
Siobhan's,
not
yeah.
easy. Is she here? Okay.
Yes.
I'm just trying to invite her. Huh. Why is it not letting me invite her? That's very strange. Hmm.
Maybe it's because I'm on, so let me maybe.
Hold on. No. I've sent it to her. It's
Okay.
gone through. There we go.
Yay!
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you doing?
All right, and you guys?
Good,
Good.
thanks.
That's
Good,
good.
thank you.
It's been a day.
Yeah, you can say that it's been a week. It's only been 2 days.
I know.
I
I know.
know.
I've got no writing done at all. These
Yeah.
like I haven't done anything. It's been crazy.
That's okay. Some weeks are more productive with writing, and other weeks are more
Exactly.
productive in the community side of things.
100%. Mine's been involving floods in my dining area.
Oh
So
no.
we got hit by the storms.
Oh
So
no. Oh
it's been
no.
fun. So
So much
yeah.
fun.
But there we go. We're still here and there are worse things happening in this life and we're all still alive. That's the main thing.
Yeah, light at the end of the tunnel.
Indeed,
Yeah.
100%. So we're excited that you've joined us this evening.
Well, thank you for inviting me to be on the live.
Of course. We've been dying to talk to you on the live.
Yeah, we know there's
Always
always
been.
something happening in the background of Madam Cupcake's world. So we're quite
Yeah.
curious to
Exactly.
have a chat with you.
Yeah, I suppose it's more just trying to encourage the collaborative side of the community, and sometimes it's as small as just putting the two right people for a specific dream together, and then they're able to collaborate and create something that everyone else is able to benefit off of.
Exactly
Yeah.
that. And it's not for being the number one at doing it, it's about community. It's not
100%.
about, a corporation saying, well, this is our thing. We are just all in the same boat wanting to improve a system.
Yeah, and also just the space. I think
Yeah.
the social media platforms already they prioritize international content. I mean, we all know when the US went offline, we were all like,
Yeah.
all of a sudden seeing people in Norway. We were like, "You guys have TikTok?" I didn't know that TikTok was that side. And then the US came back online, and then it just showed how much their content is prioritized by the algorithm. And I think it's also just important to be able to have a space that people know where to go to be able to find local authors as well as local readers, because the space wouldn't be collaborative without the readers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's getting the readers out there to know that we exist.
Yeah.
And that's a huge thing, because their narrative is pushed about international authors, not about local homegrown.
Yeah, I think again it's also algorithm influenced, in the sense of these are the in books to read, and these are the in follows, or the in trends, so to speak, on the book talk side of things. And I think if we start focusing on a local stage that we're all proud of, and we all feel that, we've taken a paintbrush and all had our stroke of color onto it, I think, people will start wanting to cheer the local names, a lot more proudly.
Yes.
And then it literally just takes one bigger content creator on the internet over the seas to pick up one of our books because they saw a smaller account who happened to be local posting about us, and then things change, So I think definitely getting people to buy into, we know how to tell stories.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
and don't be scared to enjoy the stories, because not only are we able to look to, like, for example, Wayne, a lot of his books are based in South Africa. R.K. Daniels is another one that does his books locally. His stories are set locally. None of mine are set locally, but I mean, then there's the other side of South African authors that make up worlds, so I think we've got a range of authors that we're able to, there's a little bit of everything for everyone.
100%. And it's about showing everyone that we are diverse.
Yeah.
And it's, and we're also enjoying the fact that we can read maybe a book that, like, Wayne's written, and that place.
Yeah.
You can understand, you can resonate with that area, and you're like, oh yes, yeah. And it helps it as well, which is really good.
Yeah, and I think also it's nice if one of those books had to hit big, for example, it would be really cool if someone in New York is curious about a place in South Africa and actually comes and travels and comes and finds it, and then gets lost within the small markets that happen to be around that place, and then indirectly a book has helped informal trade within South Africa, which is actually quite a big part of our economy.
Yes.
And I mean, if we just talk about South Africa in the broader form, I mean, unemployment is a huge issue in our country, and the only way that we're going to solve that is actually through job employment, through the entrepreneurship side of things.
Exactly that. I mean, even look at the movie industry, for instance, in Cape Town, where we've got that whole big space that is being used to create films from people from abroad. So if we can do that, we can do this for our readers, for our authors, and also for small businesses that are there needing the help. Because when we bring people in and they can start relating to us and start understanding our stories, our narratives, they're going to invest.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, so it's very exciting. No, I'm having a great time listening to you guys. No, I actually really agree with you, and I find it so amazing, the ripple effect that we're able to have just by spreading a little bit of positivity. And I see there's a child peeking in.
No, it's fine. Does she need mum quickly?
No.
Okay.
My husband's in Cape Town at the moment, but they're very capable of putting themselves in bed.
Okay.
They're fighting. Okay, bye.
Hello.
God bless her.
But yeah, just to see that, like, one like for you, Siobhan, like that one just like deliberately wanting to spread kindness has had this massive ripple effect. And it's so encouraging to read the local stories that we put out as well, because they're such good quality stories and there's such beautiful stories and so much heart behind it. It deserves an international stage. And I think this is just one step
100%.
towards that.
100%. And I think one of the biggest, so my I was posting on social media for a while, but again, you kind of like get lost in the blissfulness of the void of nothingness, you know. and and one day I was just like, screw it, I'm over it. I'm gonna blow over Vizela and see who answers to that. So honestly, I honestly did not think anyone was going to answer to the call, but it was a change of mindset in the sense of, it was actually a post in Book Talk. It was one of the Book Talk USA content creators I was following, and the post was just so negative and so toxic that I was just like, I don't want this energy, and I don't want to spread this energy. And life in itself is already difficult for a lot of people. People might not always talk about what they're going through, but everyone goes through something. And what really made me very much aware of that was the experience that I had with Amber, who Secrets of the Shell is dedicated to. I mean, I was the last person she spoke to before she decided to end things. And the girls are now getting around from Mr. Cupcake. But it was, she was so fragile in that moment in time, and we don't know who is at that point. And I think people are forgetting that a post could very much well be the reason why someone decides to go or decide to stay. And that's when I just decided I really wanted to, at least my page, be a page where people could come, rest, feel like they can breathe, and also just leave feeling a little bit filled up, that they've got a little bit of kindness spread their way. So that was my mindset of when I started to change the way I posted. And then kindness spread like wildfire. It spread faster than what I thought it would, which I'm very thankful for that people answered to it and also fed into it, But then I thought, because I actually reached out to a group of readers, who all sort of referred one another to themselves, to me, for ARC reading for my tandem read. And then I asked them, I said, why can't we do something more? Like, yes, thank you so much for agreeing to be part of my ARC team for my tandem read. But what if we did something more? What if we actually started challenging Book Talk SA to firstly come together, secondly be proud of being local, and thirdly leading with kindness? And it was those 12 ladies that bought into it and sort of helped spread the message that the Mzansi Cupcakes then really took off from there. But it's again, my mindset was for it to be a broad community. So it's not you have to follow me to feel part of it. You have to be a certain genre, you have to be a certain part of life or whatever. It was literally, if you're South African, you're part of it. And if you read, you're part of it. It's about being inclusive and allowing someone to feel that they can come as they are and not feel judged for whatever decisions they've made in life. And I believe very strongly in free will, and a person has the right to choose a lot of things in their life. So that's why you'll never catch me telling someone what they can read and what they can't read, and what they can post and what they can't post, because to me, you're infringing on someone's free will when you start dictating to them what they can and cannot do.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I have to tell you that, when I started my TikTok account last year, when I was about to release my debut novel, it was a very daunting thing for me. Was never on TikTok before that. So to learn this whole new app and then see the general vibe that Book Talk had at that time it's very intimidating and very judgmental almost. So, but when I came across, I think it was either yours or Ida's posts to begin with, it was so overwhelming just to see how the South African community is just so ready to accept and welcome in their fellow South Africans. And, now we're starting SIRE, it's been amplified so much more. How people are, it's like the culture we often get preached at as South Africans that there's so much division in our country and, that we should, or not that we should, but that we are sort of set against each other based on various different aspects of who we are. But we've seen the total opposite of that happening in the last few months that we've started this. And it really did start with Madam Cupcakes. I don't think and I don't think I would have come across it if it wasn't for that one movement. And it's just so encouraging. And I said to Angela, I think this morning, that it really has restored my faith in humanity to see how the culture in South Africa really is to stand together and to build something beautiful together.
You know what? Thank you for sharing how the movement brought kindness to you guys. But what I definitely want to highlight upon is that what I love about the movement is that it's brought people like, for example, Angela and yourself together, and you've now created SIRE and the Book Hive. And it's brought Elizabeth out, who is, in media, who's now wanting to change things in the literature community to be able to give like a PR jacket to authors as well as audiobooks. And I think that's what I find so beautiful about it is what the little idea was, firstly, to share kindness. And where it's moved to is that everyone's bought into the idea of, but it can be more, and we can do more, and we don't have to accept the smallest slice of pie that's been given to us on the platform, on people's and indirectly on people's reading shelves. I do think our readers are very keen to get behind us when they get to know who's out there and what type of stories are out there. I think they were very much in the dark of what was actually available. And I think what's very powerful about the trajectory of where this can take the community as a whole and the industry as a whole is we can really be sitting with a new state of mechanics of how people can benefit and how people can grow and how people can share. And I think that's I've also found very important was, it's not about gatekeeping, and it's not about trying to keep as much information for myself so that I can step on Angela or I can step on Michelle to get above them. There's more than enough pie to go around. No one needs to step on anyone. I think that's what I've been trying to do, is been sharing knowledge and sharing, hey, if you're looking for this is the person you contact, or hey, if you're looking for that, this is maybe the people that you use. Because I think what's the ripple effect of how the industry has been forming and what trends have sort of done is it's isolated people, and people don't know, but so-and-so does this, and so-and-so has that service, and so-and-so can do PR boxes. So I think what will make us definitely stand out to the other book communities is the collaborative nature of the environment that we're trying to build.
Absolutely.
And we're trying to rise together where there's no, as you said, competitiveness with, well, I can't post about you because you're going to take away my book stuff. And it actually does the opposite. When you start lifting other people up and you start encouraging them and you start being their cheerleader, I believe it comes tenfold back to you.
100%.
It's that ripple effect. And this has always been part of my life, is helping others, spreading kindness, ripple effects, and making sure injustice don't happen again.
Yeah.
That has always been part of my makeup. So the fact that we can all come together and be blown away by the amount of people that are reaching out to us saying they want to help. They want to be giving information. They want to be being a person that is going to stand up and say, yes, I'm proud to be a South African indie author. You know, that is an amazing thing, because I'm so sad when I hear indie authors saying, well, I'm not good enough,
Yeah.
you know, or some negative thing that is sitting in their brain that has been put out by either social media or an old school archaic system that doesn't serve us anymore, especially in this country. We're too diverse, and we need to have that understanding that we are all different. And I don't know about you, but we've had people saying, oh, do you only accept English writers, or do you only talk to English, you know, speakers? And it's like, no, we don't care what language you speak, what gender you are, what your race is, as long as you're South African. That is all that matters.
I think it's also, it was a topic that I chatted about on one of the events that I was invited to, speaking on a panel. It was a women's empowering event. I was actually quite disappointed by the main topic of the evening, because there's so much broader things in the industry that requires attention. So I am just the type of author, I would rather speak about things within the industry that need to change than speak about my books.
Yes.
Not that my books are not that they're not important, and not that they don't speak on important aspects, but I'm very much someone that feels, firstly, my gap to publish should be the same gap as someone that sits in Khayelitsha and wants to publish a book. That gap should be the same. Currently, the gap isn't the same.
No.
So my questions immediately are like, what can we do to change those gaps? So will those gaps change overnight? Most definitely not. But if we start laying the bricks now, in 3 years' time, that gap is a lot smaller. And the trajectory of that going forth until eventually the gap is the same. And the question was actually asked, do you feel that males and females have the same gap? Which obviously in most industries, the gaps aren't the same. But my response back was, before we worry about male, female, let's first worry about our own house. And currently, someone sitting in Khayelitsha does not have the same gap as what I have to publish. And that's the problem. So let's first get the female bridge to be the same bridge, and then we can worry about the male bridge.
Yeah.
And that's where the Rising Voices campaign came in.
And that campaign is mind-blowing. It's going to make a lot of people realize that there is help out there. And people like you and us, we believe in them, and we want them to better their life and get their story out there, because every story helps a person.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's where it should be. It shouldn't be gate-kept, and it shouldn't be, you can't write because you've got the lack of funds. You know, because it's expensive.
100%.
It's so expensive.
I think where the States and the UK have an upper hand on us, and to an extent Australia as well, is that Amazon has got the printing houses in those respective countries. Yeah. So to do print on demand via Amazon is a lot cheaper for authors in those respective countries to be able to do author copies through KDP prints. So they're able to have like 5 or 6 copies on hand, and it's actually quite affordable for them to do that. One of the things in South Africa that counts very much against us is our wage rate. Our minimum wage is like way higher than most of the other countries. So, and not to mention there's load shedding and Eskom issues, which has also just pushed up manufacturing costs like through the roof. But we don't currently, there isn't a model that is similar to KDP print on demand that authors are able to leverage on, that they could, you know, do a 500 Rand print run and have a few books. And it's and the book cost is 70 Rand a book, and they're able to still sell it for 150 and make a profit.
But there's also problems with that model as well, because the share in fees is ridiculous as well. You know, when you look at what somebody is getting from that.
Yeah, so what I've noticed, and I've actually spent some time analyzing with three US authors that I've made friends with through the Sweethearts, who's the inspiration with them, Madam Cupcakes. I was just chatting to them from a business model perspective. How do they be able to make the ends meet? So a lot of them actually don't push the sales through Amazon. What they do is they get the author copies via Amazon delivered to them, and then they sell it out hand, which they're allowed to do.
In the UK, author copies comes with a big banner across it saying author copy.
Oh,
Cannot
Yeah, so
sell.
you get
not in the US.
Yeah.
There's
yeah, so you actually get
Yeah.
two different. So you get a proof copy, which is like very cheap from Amazon, but you can also order author copies, which is basically just the cost of printing. But it's two different orders that you make. Yeah, it's like you say, here it's nearly impossible. And I've also found just for myself that direct sales is far more effective
no, 100%. That's your biggest
because
gross
obviously you're
profit.
building,
Your
because
biggest
but
gross.
it's inaccessible if you don't have the funds to print 50
Yeah.
books.
Or you don't even know how to use the technology to create these websites,
Yeah.
which even like some of them are very basic and you can be taught, but some people don't have that in them to be able to do it.
No.
Yeah.
So, and also it's a bit of a catch-22 because, so I would, I'm probably going to get into trouble for saying this, but it's fine.
We won't tell if you don't.
They'll get over it. It's fine. The bookstores. Look, I'm very thankful for the bookstores that they give South African authors space on their shelves, but the dynamics of how the industry is currently running, obviously the bookstores take what they need to take, then the distributors, it gets paid over to the distributor because they don't want to work with 20 authors, they want to work with one distributor, which you can understand. But then depending on the type of distributor you have, you are either going to land in double car middle R street, or you're gonna get what is due to you, right? But then they obviously take a cut, and then the author ends up getting what they get, which on average 10 to 20 rand is profit off your book, right? Which is, I mean, you're gonna have to move quite a bit of volume for that to be feasible. And we don't have the reading community in South Africa like the States and the UK do, where they are literally eating up books. Like they're a different machine. So direct sales is definitely the most profitable. And I think for an author to be starting to move into the trajectory of self-sustainability with writing, it would be to, have a number of distribution streams. So you would have your direct, you would have a bit going through books, because the bookstores are what's going to give you exposure. Because there's a whole lot of them in the country. But then obviously it's which bookstores and book placing on shelves and all of that. But everyone in the industry has a role to play, and I don't think bookstores should feel, they shouldn't feel intimidated if an author starts pushing their books direct from them. It's not going to take away from them. It's just a different income stream for the author.
I think where the problem lies is that because it's such an old system that's still being used, they don't want to think of anything new. It's like the old school mentality. Do you know what I mean? It's like boys club or girls club. This is how it works. We don't break it. It stays like this. But it's 2026. And the amount of time and effort and stuff that we do, 10 and 20 rand, is not feasible. It is not. It's going to put people off writing, and then you'll get all these big authors that do these massive book boxes, and then that costs a fortune, because you're thinking, oh, okay, how am I going to compete with that? Because that is what a lot of people are coming with. They're like, well, so I can barely survive with just making the book, but then readers want X, Y, and Z from us. Do you see what I mean? And that's also a tough thing. And it's finding that balance and showing people actually what it is, because we do not make money from this. And I think that's a misconception. People think that we are rolling in this money and that, we're going to have a book deal and we're going to sign a movie deal and we get thousands. We don't. We really don't.
But even the trad authors,
Yeah.
sorry, this is my cat, Tonic. He is glued to me. He's a Velcro cat. Yeah. I think even trad authors, not even them with what they get out of their slice of pie, and that's just chatting to a few of where they shared some details of the type of deals that they get. Even within South Africa, what they walk away with, there's very few, because obviously trad, they cover the costs and then you get like a little lump sum money, and then once your sales pass the amount of lump sum that you receive, that's when you start earning royalties. And very few authors actually end up earning royalties past the lump sum that they receive, because the sales trajectory just goes, because we don't have the reading community.
No, but it's not even, we don't have the reading community, but it changes like the algorithm. If you're not the latest hot thing, no matter where you are, they're not going to push you out. Do you know what I mean? It's like in this country, mental health is a huge thing. GBV is a huge thing. But when you try and make the conversations about these things, it might involve books. It's like, no, we don't want to talk about that today.
Yeah, there's very specific times in the year where they'll be open to talking about. So I mean, I'll use myself as an example with people or the industry and certain media houses knowing my story. When it's around GBB Awareness Month, then the WhatsApps and the emails come through of, hey, do you want to talk on this day? Do you want to talk on that day? Blah, blah, blah. Which I'm happy to do so, to spread awareness. But at the same time, I'm very careful of how I share about it, and because I don't want to feel like a billboard, first and foremost. And secondly, it's a type of topic that deserves respect when sharing about it, because the reality is there are people in different stages of their journey. So there'll be people that are in the journey, there'll be people that have just left and started healing, and then there'll be people that are further down the healing journey. And it's being able to spread or talk about that message in such a way that it will land with wherever the person is, and not make the person feel, oh, I'm here and I'm not there, and therefore I'm less, or I'm doing something wrong, or I'm worse off, or whatever. And it just ticks me off that they don't do it on other parts of the year where the message may land a bit softer, because everyone's angry during GVB month. Everyone's like, oh, anger, and how can this be happening? And it's 2026, and we're all going to do this and do that. And yes, it's lovely that people band together for it,
but it's not just a month thing.
Exactly,
it's both like lived through it, and as you say, we don't want to be those billboard people that for that month, I'd rather talk about it maybe like, hold on, when things are happening, like around Valentine's Day, you get a lot of things happening around birthdays, anniversaries, all these things, Christmas.
Yeah, or even Sexual Awareness Month, which is April. I mean, Sexual Assault Awareness Month. I mean, and that's an element of what happens in GBV violence, So I do think what could improve on the media side is to be able to talk about that specific topic more year round than just from October and November.
Yeah.
But in saying that, I am glad that they are talking about it, because a few years ago, October and November, no one was even speaking about it.
Yeah. It's, I mean, considering I've only been back in South Africa now 3 years, I can still see the how it's different. You know, where the conversations aren't being had. It's still taboo to talk about certain things, or you know, so I can see the different sides of the coin. I've been a victim. I'm no longer a victim. I try to help people through my writing, through talking, through mindfulness stuff. And it's about just raising awareness in exactly what we're doing with Madam Cupcakes, Saya, the local book hive. It's creating a ecosystem that isn't scared to talk out
Yeah.
about things. It's about being honest, true, and standing up for what is right, you know, and not alienating people or making them feel lesser, because we're all in the same boat in this,
Yeah.
you know, and we start creating ripple effects with the rising stars and stuff like that. You're going to see these people soar, and you're going to see them wanting to pay it forward as well. And that's where it starts becoming this beautiful little ecosystem that is full of kindness.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, we're building a legacy at the end of the day. I think we'd love to see these big changes happen overnight, but it does take time
No, it does.
for things to happen. But that means that we have to do the grunt work now
Yes.
and sort of
The hardest
fight
step
the
is
big
the first
system.
step,
But
eh? The hardest
yeah,
step is the first step. And then from there, it's just the momentum kind of keeps you going, you know? But I think, I think the industry will be a very different place in 5 years' time with
Yeah.
the way everyone's buying into Saya, everyone's slowly buying into how people should interact online. Although it's like, it sort of feels like, yay, for 3 weeks, people are being nice and behaving. And then it goes, oh no, someone went and posted something that was too girl, like, no,
Please don't.
don't do that.
So tell us a little bit more about the rising stars.
So that was honestly something that came up
Benjamin.
sitting on my my couch with a friend and Mr. Cupcake, and we were having wine, and I was just like, I actually came back from
I'll fall asleep in my
panel
spot. I'll move you.
from Exclusive Books where we spoke about the gap that needed to be closed, and I was really fired up. I was like, I was so upset with how that discussion went, because I was like, we didn't talk about the important stuff. There's so much important stuff that we need to talk about. We didn't do it. I even had a slideshow. I mean, what a nerd, like.
No, that's me. That's so me.
I even had a slideshow to be like, these are the problems. And then David was the one who said to me, but love, what would you do differently? And then I said to him, you know what, love, I would love to have an opportunity for people to apply to, that they're able to get the funds that they need to produce. Like, I mean, yes, it would be amazing, like pie in the sky, like if funding was no issue, that it would be like how much do you need? Here you go, you can pay me back with royalties.
Yeah.
But where ideally where it would need to probably start is crowdfunding.
Yeah.
So David's like, so what is your problem? I'm like, I didn't just say I had a problem. Then he's like, but you're moaning. And I'm like, I am not moaning. I am brainstorming out loud. And that's, and then the next day, him and myself thought up the wording for the backer buddy. And then I ran it past Ida. Ida and I are very close. So we chat a lot in the background of ideas and how we can make the place better. And when she said she thought it was a great idea, I was like, okay, cool. And posted about it. And then I was blown away that people were donating, and we've raised 12,700 Rand, which is definitely enough for 2 authors. Depending where I can squeeze costs, I could probably get it to 3 authors. Currently, it's only fiction and poetry that I am accepting. Nonfiction's a little bit difficult at this point in time, to be able to market through to the bookstores. But it is something that will change in time. But at the moment, at least I can start the change with fiction and poetry. And then I started pitching the idea. I wrote a business case for it because that's what I do. My full-time job is I develop business cases for the bank that I work at, how we can strategically grow the company from a profitability point of view. So I applied that mindset to this, and then I approached publishing houses, and the one that bit was Mirari Press. And Marius, I really have all the time in the world for him. He really is a salt of the earth type person. He had then agreed to collaborate with the Rising Voices campaign to help keep costs down. So he, for example, he'll help with an editing service and a book cover service and little things that he can do so that as much of the cost can go towards printing of the books. But also it helps, he's also going to be helping on the panel side selecting, because we've got 50 entries. How amazing is that? 50,
That is
50
amazing.
entries. I thought I was going to have like 10, because obviously when I started the Rising Voice, I was like, no one's going to donate. And they're like 12,700 later. David's like, why are you moaning? I was like, I wasn't moaning. And then I'm like, okay, entries aren't open. And I'm like, no one's going to enter. And then there's like 50 people over. David's like, why are you moaning? I'm like, I'm not moaning. You know, I'm voicing my fears. There's a difference. So now I've got 50. So Marius is he's part of the panel to work through for us to get to the top 5. And then the top 5 is going to go to a community vote where the community then will vote for who they think the top 2 is. And then the top 2 will get a full ride. They'll get 50, depending on the size of their books, but I'm aiming to get at least as close as possible to quantity of 50 for them. So they'll get their first 50 books printed, but before it gets printed, it will be edited. They'll have a cover design. They'll have a distribution contract with a reputable distribution house. Marius is also going to give them advice on where they could better their story if they need to. But what's the nice side of it is that maybe there's an author that doesn't get to the top 5, but Marius sees potential in their story and he reaches out to them personally, you know? So that's the idea of it, is that they are then fully set up for their first 50 books. They'll then get all their royalties and everything. So for me, it's a start scratch every time. It's a crowdfunding every year. I am worried about the being able to keep the momentum up with it. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm going to lay that at God's feet. I very much believe that He'll bless where the heart is. Because I am a full-time working mom. I've only got so many hours a day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, look what you've created. I mean, that's amazing.
Well, we created.
Well,
I just had a crazy idea that I shouted in the void, and everyone was like, "Oh, that's a good idea. We're answering to it." I'm like,
that
"Yay!"
sounds familiar. That sounds very familiar. But
So I'm assuming that the crowdfunding is still open.
Yes.
If there are people listening and they want
Yes.
to pitch in, I mean, even 20 Rand will go
Well,
a way to helping out.
that's
So
the beautiful thing. If you see the trajectory of the people donating, there's 20, 50, 100, 200, and every little cent counts, you know. And my thing is, like I said in the back of the body, the more that I can raise, the more of the 5 authors that can be helped. So rule of thumb is every 5,000 is an author. So yeah, I mean, you know, who knows? Maybe in 10 years' time, the crowdfunding is such a point that we're helping 50 authors, you know, at a time. My only heart, like as happy as what I was opening up the email, seeing 50 entries, I was just like, I can only help 2.
yeah.
But look, you're going to be helping so many, because as you say, you've given them the step to believe in themselves already.
Yeah.
There's so many people that don't actually put their book out there for anything. They'll, you know, I mean, so the fact that they've done this is a huge achievement. And they could be picked up by other people as well.
Yeah.
Because life is a funny way of coming around for people who start to show up for themselves.
Yeah, they do. And I think I must say that is very much, that's very true what you say, Angela, because I mean, so my very first book I wrote was Get Out and Stay Out. And when I pressed publish, I was like, you know, as as you feel as an author. But since publishing that book, there's been 8 women that have been able to change their circumstances after reading that book.
Sure.
And that's massive in the community of women that are stuck in situations that don't want to be in. And it came from me, like you said, Angela, showing up for myself and believing I may feel worthless for what's been put on paper, and I don't feel like that now, but I did feel at the time. I felt, who am I to say this stuff,
Yeah.
And taking the faith of, but maybe one person just needs to hear it, then all this ugly's been made worth it, if that makes, it's a horrible way to look at it.
Because someone's story can change so many lives. Because you don't know what they're going through at that point in time. I know people that have read my book and they're like, I didn't understand that this can happen. And how easily it can happen. I'm like, yes. I said, so the fact that they can start understanding because maybe their daughter's going through it, or or
a colleague.
Exactly. It's about raising awareness through stories, and that's why stories are so vital for everyday life. No matter if it's about children's stories, comic books, poetry, thrillers, they all hit the person that it's meant for.
That's very much true. And I think it's also
beyond
why it's so important that also language isn't a barrier. That someone who is Xhosa should be able to pick up a book in their own home language and be able to read it,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But also people that have got dyslexia or need Braille or need an audiobook. These are things that also need a lot of nurturing.
Yeah. But I must say also that so the accessibility, audiobooks are awesome for the accessibility for those that have visual impairment.
Yeah.
To be able to at least take part in the stories. And it's actually beautiful to see how the audio industry, the audiobook industry, how that is actually just taking off. Like, it's just insane. It's insane.
It has, hasn't it? Especially, I mean, I haven't really seen it so much. It's starting to come in here a lot more, I think. Where overseas, that's all you saw on the tubes and, and stuff like that, is people listening to audiobooks.
Yeah, and I think, again, it's accessibility for us.
Yeah.
You were saying,
And it creates opportunity for the authors as well.
Yeah.
Because you've put a lot of heart and soul into writing that book, and being able to create another format out of it without having to rewrite a whole book.
Yeah.
It just creates that extra little stream for the authors themselves too.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's exciting to know that that's something that's coming into South Africa. And I'm excited. I want to hear a book narrated by a South African. That's like on my to-do list for soon.
Well, that was my and Elizabeth's conversation that we started. So it was November. I reached out to her. So I met her at a book signing. So what I try to do is all the Cape Town authors, I really do try and show up at their book signings. Because I've had a book signing before, and like no one knew me at the time, so obviously it was very lonely, and I didn't want someone else to experience that. So I was like, well, if at least there's one person that's there, it's me. And I met her at another author's book signing, and we just started chatting. And then that's when she was like, she was talking about an audiobook, and I was just like, isn't it so sad that we don't have our South African accents in an audiobook, because we've actually got a beautiful accent. And she was like, oh, you know what? I was thinking the exact same thing. And then she was like, that's when she shared that she's actually got all the contacts, and she's a voice actor, and she knows everyone in the industry. And I was like, but why aren't you doing it? And she's like, no one's asked me that. I was like, well, I just did. And then she's like, well, we need a project to be able to, use it so that we're able to know what to charge. I was like, you can use my book, you go and do it. And then that's when they did the project on December to understand what the resources that they need to be able to do a audiobook. And she has a pricing system now. So then I was like, well, now you have no excuse to go into the industry and do that for the authors.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
That's, and this is it. It's just these conversations that cause this massive ripple effect. And that's what we're trying to do, is to bring all of this to all of us, so that we don't have to be beating down doors and scratching our heads trying to find out any information.
No, like that, that's what I was saying to David, poor David, he's like a freaking psychologist, the poor man.
Don't worry, Darren's the same for me.
Like I said to him, none of this was done with an intent for me to be like, I want to see how many followers I can get. I want to see how much I can get out of the situation. It was genuinely because I've been brought up, if you receive something, you should leave it in a better state that you found it in. Yes. And the industry that I received was not an industry that I wanted to leave for my children if they ever decided to be an author. So I came with the mindset of, if I can do small changes and inspire other people to get onto this bandwagon with me, that's half the battle won. Because for one person to take on changing the entire industry is way too big of a job. But if I can, spark an idea of someone to take on the audiobook side, or spark an idea for someone to be like, hey, all authors come here, and spark an idea for, I don't know, maybe readers to get together and do something, then great, because it's going to take everyone taking a certain element of the industry and deciding, okay, this is my little cog that I want to inspire to change, and this is how I'm going to do it, and then take ownership of it and actually do it.
Yes. And it's been so amazing to experience that, because everybody's so ready to do that. Everybody, we had so many people put their hand up and be like, what can we do? Yeah. What can we do to make this happen, to make the change come about? Just need a little bit of direction, Yeah. Like you say, you just need one person to have an idea and then just run with it.
Yeah, and I think also, I think where people mustn't get despondent is that sometimes your first idea might not always be the one that is the successful one, but that's okay, because you take your learnings from that, and maybe it's the third idea that is the idea that is really the change that now sets the industry on fire, So I don't think anyone should ever give up because no effort is lost. Every effort inevitably is what's going to be the ripple effect of change. Yeah, because if it hasn't actually resulted in change, it's at least resulted in a learning for you to know what needs to be adjusted for the change to be the effect.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think that's the beauty of having a village together, putting these ideas together and tweaking it until we keep on getting the right formula, changing the formula, making it better. It evolves, it grows, and it doesn't stay stagnant. And that's what we're trying to get away from, is that stagnant old school. And this is why this ecosystem is always evolving to make our lives and the future writers that are around better, so they don't have to struggle. So they
No.
don't have to
Yeah.
worry about being scammed or being ripped off or not having the courage to ask for help.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a very big motivation. Like Angela knows that, for me, starting Saya was very much about the legacy that we leave for our kids because my eldest child wants to be an author when he grows up, you know. So knowing the struggles that authors go through, and I mean, today again we saw a video of a lady who's really struggling and she
Yeah.
feels so alone
Yeah.
and despondent and like she just wants to delete the whole book, but she's put so much effort into it. That's heartbreaking to see.
It is.
Yeah.
Because their stories deserve to be told and they deserve to be supported and encouraged into doing this because it's a passion project, and it spreads joy to be able to do something that you love.
And especially, if you're working long hours, you've got family, and you're writing, that's superhero stuff there. I mean, that is to be celebrated because there's not a lot of people that could do that. And that's what
No.
people don't realize.
No,
Yeah.
but I think also what people need to realize too is that, and I think it's something that I definitely developed during my time in sport was you shouldn't who you should be competing with is yourself. You shouldn't be comparing yourself to what other
100%.
people can do. So some people are able to write a lot faster, and that's fine, But if you're able to put X amount of words and you extend your word count by 100 words even a day, that in itself is a huge achievement, and it's getting you closer to the end point. And when you're eventually there, whether I wrote the book in 3 days or you wrote the book in 3 weeks, the fact is we both have a finished book.
Yeah, and it's the same as readers. I mean, seriously, when I look at some people's TBRs, it gives me anxiety because I am a slow reader. I'm a very slow reader, and that's because of my brain fog and all my other health issues. But I can still read a book. It might just take longer. But it's not comparing yourself, as you say, to somebody else's TBR and, well, I'm not that good because I didn't read 10 books this month.
Yeah,
Doesn't
I
matter,
think
you read.
that is definitely something that I've noticed amongst the readers, because a lot of them would reach out via DM to share how they're feeling about certain things. And one of the things is about, oh, I didn't read 25 books in a month. And I'm like, and
Yeah, exactly.
where's your noddy badge for reading 25 books?
Exactly.
There's no noddy badge for reading 25 books,
Exactly.
So if you read one book, fantastic. Did you enjoy it? If not,
Exactly.
hope you choose a better book next time.
And that's the thing, isn't it? It's about coming as you are and not being as someone else.
But I think a lot of the trends within the book talk industry or the book talk way things has actually aided to people's mental health in a negative way. So the feeling of I'm never reading enough, or I don't review good enough, or I don't read the in authors, or now I'm reading a cancelled author and therefore I'm a problem. And that's, it's just why has it moved to a point that we are now having these things that we're measuring people against? When did it stop to just listening to what a person is saying about a book?
Yeah. This is also why when we created Saya, I was hell-bent on making sure there was a mental health thing every week. Whether it's just a drop-in chat with everybody or it's a theme around something, it gives them a chance to breathe, listen without feeling like they're alone. Because let me tell you something, there were so many of these people on the call on Sunday night that had the same exact thoughts. And when I highlighted it, they were all like, oh. And it was like an aha moment because they're not alone in this. And they don't need to be. And we don't have to compare ourselves to others, and we don't have to be the best reader, the best writer. Come as you are.
Yeah, but also just accept people for they are, you know? And I think that's a bit of a tipping point at the moment in Book Talk SA. If I have to be very honest, there's a bit of a divide at the moment of people that are willing to make space for people for who they are, you know, and they're like all good. And then there's others that are like, this is the
Put me in
circle
a
you must
box.
fit in. This is the circle, and this is the only circle. I'm like, oh, that's fantastic, but I'm a square, so that's a bit of a problem.
I like to break circles and squares. I like people to just come as they are.
So I think there's definite, like, in anything we should always try and improve. You know, we should never feel that we could never improve, because if we at that point, then we're ignorant and we're gonna let the ball drop. But if there's one thing that definitely still needs to change, and there's a lot of room of improvement needed, is between the posting within the Book Talk SA, for people to be more tolerant of people's differences and accepting that they're different. And just because something's different doesn't make it offensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think
We're all
this is
grown
where-
adults, so we can deal with it.
Yeah, and it's leading with kindness, you know,
Yes.
and not jumping down somebody's throat because you don't believe what they believe.
Yeah, and the thing is, you know, belief differences is on many aspects. It can be belief, it can be political views, it can be your love life, the way that you've decided to love. You know, it's what you eat can also be different. You know, it's there's so many aspects where people can differ,
Yeah.
and it's just like, if you can make exception on those two categories, why can you not do it on what someone's reading?
Exactly that. But we're starting to make change, all of us, and that's what
Yeah.
counts.
I think
And hopefully it'll ripple through South African Book Talk.
I think it will, and I think it is. I think it's just the consistency of keeping it going. And I think I'm very relieved that, because in the beginning I felt shit. Sorry.
No?
It's okay. The kids are all in bed, don't worry.
Oopsie, I'm sorry.
Normal.
I felt there's no ways I can carry on doing this by myself. So I'm very happy that others have jumped on as well, waving the kindness flag and trying to spread the kindness as well, because it's something that's going to continuously needing to be fed into the community. Because it's rewiring people's brains and how to think about things and how to interact with people. It's reteaching something that social media has broke down.
And unfortunately, okay, so when we're born with no negative thoughts. But it's been taught through social media, news, people around us, and it gets stuck in that subconscious. It's a cycle. I remember when I passed my mindfulness master practitioner stuff, people are like, are you in a cult? Why are you being so kind? You know, why are you leading with kindness? I'm like, what? Are you sure you're not in a cult? I'm like, why? Because I'm spreading kindness throughout social media. But yeah, I had people telling me this, and this was like over a decade ago. I had people, you know, saying, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? I'm like, no.
Nothing's wrong.
sick
I'm
of
just
seeing
drinking
negative
water.
stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sick of seeing negative stuff. And when you have friends, kids that are full of anxiety at 5 and 6 years old, that's not okay.
No, it's not. It's not. And you know what's frightening is like half the stuff that people post online. I'm like, would you have said that at a dinner table? No, you wouldn't have. So why did you think that was okay to post online? You know, and it's. I mean, I'm dreading the time that my eldest gets onto social media. And she's already like, "Mummy, when I'm getting a phone," and I'm like, if it was up to me, it would be never. But now, no. But the reality is she's going to one day be on a phone, and I am very scared for what social media is going to be like when the time she gets on, if it is the way that it is now. But at least with our efforts, there will be a safe space for people to land and breathe.
100%. And, you know, I mean, my kids are grown. They're kind of like around your ages. So for me, it's about making sure my grandkids are in a safe space. And also, I'm tired of seeing friends taking their own lives because of things. And it's not okay. Because, as you say, one comment will cause an issue.
100%. But also people's definition of safe space. I've also noticed where they're like, oh, safe space is if you think like me. No, it's not.
Yeah.
There's sub-communities within a safe space, but a true safe space is for you to come and say, I think A, and Angela can come and say, I think B, and you're like, okay, and you leave.
Yes.
You don't attack each other. That is a safe
Agree
space.
to disagree.
That is a
Okay.
safe space.
Right, this is someone's gone and complained about something in the live.
Sorry.
No worries. It's actually going to be shutting down in like a minute.
Okay.
So
Sorry,
sorry,
guys.
It's all
my
right. Sorry,
fault.
guys. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
And we must do it again.
Yeah.
Yes, we must. And
Yeah.
you ladies, keep up with your good work, and
You too.
I wish everything of the best.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you
Take
for
care, my friends.
doing
Take
what
care.
you do
Thank
as
you guys for
well.
joining us.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.